Okay, 7.1 are nth roots and rational exponents. We're familiar with a radical sign. Also, normal, we call it a square root. That's because there's this invisible 2 at this index location. Well, we have others. It's called a cube root, which means there's a 3 in that index location. If I put a 4, we call that a 4th root. If I put a 5, it's a 5th root. And so on and so forth. But what's important about it is that the index tells me the same number of factors needed. Alright, so like if we have the square root of 4, I only need 2 of the same thing. But if I have the cube root of 8, well, 8 factors to 3 2's, that's 3 of them. I gotta have the same number. So if I have, let's say, 16, and it's the 4th root of 16, well, 16 is 4 2's, so therefore my solution is 2. If I have an even index, I cannot do a negative number. We learned that these are imaginaries. But if I have an odd index, I can square root a negative. It means I have a negative answer. So that should be reviewed. We've talked about negative before in imaginaries. So we've done that with square rooting of negatives. What we're going to be moving on from is our radicals, is that our radicals create rational exponents. And now rational means fraction. So radicals create fractional exponents. And the way that works, if I have some base with a power and an index, I can rewrite this as the same base, power over index. So you'll hear me say power over index. You'll also hear me say in over out, the inside over the outside. This also means I can rewrite the other way. If I have something with the base exponent, a fractional exponent, I can rewrite it as a radical notation. So if I say that n is 5 and a is negative 32, I want you to be able to simplify it. So n is outside, a is negative 32. So what's the 5th root of negative 32? What 5 things make up 32? Negative 2. So saying if I have n is 3 and a is 64, 3 is the index, 64 is the base. What 3 things make up 64? 4. if I give you 16 over 5 halves, first thing you're going to do is, because it's written as an exponent, we want to change it to a radical. So the base of the exponent is the base of the radical. The top is the inside. The bottom is the outside, or the index. When you do these, it's best to simplify this as, what's the square root of 16? 4. And then what's 4 to the 5th power? 4 times 4 times 4 is 1024. So if I have 64 to the negative 2/3, now be careful with this. This goes to our rules of chapter 6. If I have a negative exponent, it means it crosses the line and changes the sign. Now I get to transform that into the cube root of 64 squared, which is the cube root of 64, which is 4, and 4 squared is 16, not 8, 16. And it's 1 over it, so 1 over 16. If I have the cube root of 3 squared, you would rewrite that as 3 to the 2/3. We're also going to be able to solve these. If I have 6x to the 4th equals 3750, I can divide by 6, so x4 is 3750 divided by 6. And now I can take the 4th root of that. I'm going to get a positive and negative answer, because just like with solving square roots I get 2 answers, with 4th root, 6th root, any even, I'm going to get 2 answers, positive, negative. And we can use our calculator. Your calculator has, obviously the square root is on here. If you just wanted, say, the square root of 25, there's the square root key. It can also do cube roots under math, second, math. I'm sorry, just math. No second, just math. Arrow down, option number 4. So if you wanted the cube root of 8. But if you want something other than a square root or a cube root, you have to tell the calculator. The calculator can do it for you, but you have to tell what root you want first. So in this problem, I want the 4th root of 625. So I have to tell the calculator I want the 4th, math, option 5. See that x? That means the 4 I punched in is going into that x location. So that means 4th root. That 4 is going into the x, and then 625. And we get our answer of 5. So let's try that again. If I have, let's go x plus 1 cubed equals 18. Well, I'm going to cube root both sides. So x plus 1 is the cube root of 18. And it's not a plus minus. It is strictly just whatever it is, because you don't get 2 answers with an odd. And then solve. So x equals minus 1 plus the cube root of 18. And there's no 3 things in 18 that can simplify that. So you'll leave it alone. Negative 1 plus the cube root of 18. And that's what you're going to work on your first homework assignment.